These are not good, David. That's why the stock is down. Deliveries in the first quarter of 387,000 vehicles. Let me put that into some perspective. The FactSet consensus as of Friday, and it had been coming down, was for 457,000 vehicles to be delivered.
China is the largest manufacturer of automobiles. Competing with Britain? No. China is the largest exporter of EV cars and will lead the whole world in EV production. Is Britain a competitor? No. China will be the biggest and most important producer and R&D in terms of semiconductor in no time. Does that mean that China competes with Britain? No. China will be the leading nation in AI revolution. Is Britain a competitor? No.
If you're looking to buy an EV, you are in luck, because right now this is a buyer's market. The prices are going down and the number of companies offering electric cars is going up. In countries like China, there is in fact an oversupply, and a new player has zoomed into the arena, looking to shake up the industry and park itself in pole position. We're talking about Xiaomi. Within 24 hours of launch, Xiaomi had more than 88,000 orders. A Xiaomi car is at least $4,000 cheaper than a Tesla. And at this price point, Xiaomi is not making a profit. In fact, it is losing money. On every car sold, it will lose $10,000 per car.
Okay, guys, you've seen it from the news. Things are not going great for Tesla at the moment, and it is the same for the overall EV market. So since the beginning of the year, Tesla stock has declined by 34%, and currently Tesla is the worst performing stock out of the S&P 500, and this is just unbelievable. One of the drivers of this is the slowdown of EV adoption, which has impacted the sales. There, I'm sure you've seen this. How and why do you think this adoption is not picking up? And how do you think we can resolve it? I mean, I have my answers, but I want to hear your thought on this first.
Yeah, there are many reasons for this. And I want to first start by saying that this is not just happening to Tesla, actually. It's happening across the industry, and it's happening to all the big EV manufacturers as well, i.e., BYD, which is the Chinese manufacturer of EVs. And as a matter of fact, their sales for this quarter was actually lower as well. And they gave back the spot of the biggest EV sellers to Tesla. Last year, at the end of the year, you'll remember that they were saying that BYD was the biggest EV maker in the world. That only lasted for 3 months. And now Tesla is back at the top. But I think this is going to be first due to inflation, higher interest rates. Most of these cars are being bought on some loans, right? So high interest rates is not helping, first. And second thing is that there are some of the government subsidies that people use to buy these cars are also running out, which is making it more expensive for people. Before, I think if you buy a Tesla car, you can get a refund of $7,000.
Yeah,
that
7.5, yeah, I think.
Yeah, that is also having a big impact on the sales. And on top of that, because the demand is low and there is a big supply of EV cars. I'm sure everybody knows this already, but there is a lot of competition in the EV market. A lot of companies, small companies, have come out of the woodwork and are producing EV cars. In the US alone, there are like 4 or 5 competitors to Tesla. And in China, they are countless. But the same economic situation that we have in the US is also going on in the China, or even worse. They have deflation. They have produced too much. And the government is giving a lot of money to these manufacturers to produce electric cars because China wants to dominate this market. Unfortunately, when there is a gold rush, there is some runaway spending where these companies have overproduced, and some of them are even going out of business, especially in China. And we've seen the same thing here in the US. I'm sure you heard of Fisker, that's MKHB reviewed a couple of weeks ago. And you'll see that the company just announced that they were going bankrupt. They are shutting down the company just after one review. If you are a Tesla stock owner, I'll say you should watch this video because we are going to discuss very, very important things.
I mean, I totally agree with some of the point that you highlighted. I'm going to highlight some other key reasons as well on my side. And those, some of them will be more focused on, the customer front. So the first thing that I would say is, regarding the whole slow adoption is that so far, there are two categories of people that have Tesla, right? So you will have the early adopters who are the tech enthusiasts. And then you will also have the second category who are people that bought Tesla because the government offered subsidies and stuff like that. Those are the people that have Tesla now. And the massive, or the rest of us, I don't obviously own a Tesla, so the rest of us are actually waiting for EVs to be better to basically buy it. And why is this? Because we understand that there is a poor charging infrastructure out there. There are not many infrastructure out there for EV charging, especially in the US where you guys don't have like a lot of trains around. The distance between places is very long, so you have to drive a lot. Because of those things, the penetration in the US is very low. At the moment, I believe last year in 2023, it was 14% only. So 14% of new cars sold were EVs. In the Europe here, where we are more condensed, the traveling distance is quite small. We have 23% penetration. That's the first thing. The second thing that I would say is about the cost of repair. If you have a Tesla or any other EV car, getting your hand on those auto parts is very difficult. That's something I know that Tesla, for example, has, you can only buy their auto part from them, and that makes it very time consuming, and that doesn't help the insurance company because if your car breaks down, they have to rent a car for you and pay for it until your auto parts get to you. So that's not good for them. So that's another reason. There is the fast depreciation as well. All the electric cars, most of them, the second you get them, after a year, their value drop by like 30%. And plus that, there is no way to really know the condition of their battery after a year or two. So there is nothing to know that for sure. So that plays a role as well. You talk about the price as well, which is something very important. And I think this is a key element as well because now it's more expensive to make an EV car comparing to an ICE car, which is a little bit crazy. And the difference is around 30 to 40%, which is very expensive. If this doesn't change, there is no way it's breaking through like the whole market and people jumping onto it. So the cost need to come down. And here I'm talking toward like the cost of the battery and some other auto parts. And I would say those are the key elements on my side. On my side, you obviously talk about, the regulations as well. Those are the main things. And in terms of solutions, let me just give mine and then you can jump in with the solutions that you think.
I think we made a video before saying that the battery is about, 60 or 40% of the cost of the car. So if the battery of your car is damaged, then just imagine how much you have to spend. Although the Tesla and other auto manufacturers, mostly Tesla, give you a warranty on the battery for, 100 to 150,000 miles.
Okay, didn't know that.
Yeah, but still, that's exactly at the time where the battery starts to degrade and degrade really bad. So the warranty is almost like a useless.
Worthless.
And that's why Hertz, for example, didn't want to continue buying Tesla and using that for their car rental business, right?
Exactly.
Because it's so expensive. It's like buying a new car. And the fact that right now there is more cars than demand, that is driving the prices down so much that if you already own a Tesla, someone who wants a Tesla would rather just buy a new Tesla than buy yours because they are almost the same price. A new Tesla is almost the same price as someone who has driven their Tesla for a year. The resale value is really, really bad compared to internal combustion cars. All these factors are not helping Tesla. Now, this week, actually yesterday, there was an article by Reuters saying that Tesla is scrapping the Model 2. The Model 2 is the car that Tesla is going to produce, which will have an even cheaper price tag. And the Reuters was speculating that they were going to stop producing that. And Elon Musk on Twitter came right back and said that was false. And on top of that, Elon Musk also announced that he was going to unveil Tesla Robotaxi in August. That is another news to ramp up the stock. But to be honest with you, even if they unveil it, it doesn't mean anything. We are still very far away. from that?
Yeah, let's dive into the Tesla specific things in a few minutes. But just to jump on what you said before regarding the batteries, we've seen like a lot of videos on YouTube regarding EV self ignition. So I think that's something that a lot of people are afraid of as well, being in your car and then your car just go out in flames and all the brake failures and stuff around that as well. So those are some of the things that are slowing the adoption. But yeah, in terms of things that could be done so that we see an improvement in the adoption rate, as we said, government subsidies to buy cars, build more infrastructure, R&D in battery innovation to drive that cost down, and then also improve the EV used cars value. And this could be, a business opportunity for someone to create an app or a system that can allow people to know the state of or the status of a battery of a used EV car. I think this will be a very good thing. But yeah, I mean, that's what I had in mind. If you don't have anything, you can jump in Tesla and then just dive into the stock and all those juicy things.
Let's do that.
Regarding Tesla, let me just share my screen so that I have a lot of things here that I can share with you. In terms of Tesla, let me just start with, some of the facts. So here on my screen, you can see the Tesla operating margin and how that has fallen in the past few quarters. At their peak, they were at 19%. That was in quarter one of 2022, and then now they dropped to 8%. And this is due to, all the price cuts that they've been implementing to boost some of the sales. And funny enough, some of them did works. We talk a little bit about the stock as well and how the stock dropped from its highs in 2021 to where it is at the beginning of the year. This is basically index, so you can see how it dropped to 30 something percent. That's the drop in percentage. And there are, beside this, their market cap as well has suffered a lot. The market cap dropped from 1.2 trillion, and now is half of that is 525 billion as well, which is very scary. And talking about the price cut that they did when they did the first one in the first semester of 2023, they actually saw a lot of boost. Their average price dropped by 12%, and then they saw a lot of boost in car deliveries that went up by 19%. And then in the second half, they tried to do the same thing again by second half of 2023, and then nothing picked up. So those are some of the facts regarding what's happening to Tesla. I mean, if you want to add anything.
All this can be attributed to part of it's the economic conditions and the fierce competition and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But I think ultimately, if we look at the EV market, you will see that the barrier of entry is very low. That's why you see all these small companies that we've never heard of, like Fisker, even Lucid. At a certain point, I was a big fan of Lucid, but it turns out that the barrier of entry just to start is like creating a YouTube channel. Everybody can come and just create one, right?
I don't totally agree with you. And that's
let me finish my thought, right? That's why you see all these companies coming the market and creating cars, but they cannot follow up the act. Just like YouTube, you can create your channel and it might not grow. They underestimate manufacturing. Everybody can build a demo car. Like there is this company called Canoe. They also produce electric car. There was a news that the CEO spending on private jet was higher than how many cars they sold. And there are plenty of stories like this. And there is also, I want to add, there is a reason why Apple decided to not pursue this segment, this market. That's why Apple didn't want to be in this market and create cars. The reason why is because the barrier of entry is low, and China basically has decided to become a big player in this market, and they have all the manufacturing power. They've bought a lot of mines, of cobalt mines for the batteries. They are trying to dominate this market any way they can. Imagine you are a company like Apple and you want to be in this market, and you see that, okay, every 3 months, the margins are dropping on these cars. You tell yourself, okay, this is a very low margin business. If you look at the iPhone, which is a very high margin business, why will you be in this game where you spend a lot of money producing the car just to sell it at a cheaper price? My outlook on this is going to be this. If you own Tesla or you're a fan of the stock or the company, I think you have to look a little bit long term here. Why? Because Tesla has figured out, just like Apple, they have figured out most of the different areas that are related to making the experience of having an electric vehicle a little bit better than most. So if you take all the Chinese cars that are coming to Europe, when they break down, how are you going to fix them? When they have software problems, how are you going to fix them? Not all of them are providing the aftercare that Tesla can provide. We also talk about insurance. Tesla has an insurance segment in their company. They can insure your cars if you cannot find insurance. Not if, but if you want, you can buy the Tesla insurance on your Tesla. So that's a good thing. Tesla has the charging network, which none of the other manufacturers have. And not only that, the way this is going to go, you have to compare it like the iPhone and the Android phone. When the Android phone was picking up, a lot of small Chinese company came into the market. Where are they today? Today, you can maybe count on your finger the biggest sellers of Android phones. It's going to be Samsung, maybe OnePlus, and a few other companies, right? And that's the same thing that's going to happen here. What is going to happen is prices are going to go lower and lower and lower for these EV cars to a certain point that it's going to make sense for people to buy it instead of buying a nice car. Even if you are only going to get like 5 years of driving out of it, the price is so cheap that you are willing to make the sacrifice. And that's what is going to happen. And what is going to follow is that the people who cannot sustain, or the manufacturers who cannot sustain those lower prices, are going to go out of business, which is already happening in China. A lot of companies are go out of business. The Xiaomi car that was announced a couple of days ago, which is Xiaomi is a phone company, by the way. If you see phone companies building cars, you know the top is in. Xiaomi car is going to lose $10,000 per car sold. That is no way to do business. Even if they have a lot of cash, that is no way to build a sustainable business. The small players are going to disappear. The best players and the biggest players are going to stay at the top. And over the next 5 years, if Tesla is able to make it, they are going to start losing money. But if they can stay the course, lose money for the next 5 years, then they will remain the best. The Tesla will become the Apple of EV cars. That's my prediction.
To be honest, I don't agree with everything you said. So the ones that I don't agree with, I will point them out and add my thought on that. But yeah, just focusing on Tesla for the next few minutes. So the first thing that I don't agree with is the fact that Tesla will become iPhone and things around those lines. Tesla can do that, but if they don't change their ways, they are not going to be able to do that. They have a lot of challenges, and some of those are around. First, their product portfolio that's dated. They've had the Model 3 and the Model Y. Those are the two well-performing cars that they have. And the Model 3, they just released the uplift design of it. And they have all X, Model X, S. Those ones haven't changed in a while. You don't perform well in the car business like that. It doesn't work like that. You need to release new product often and change designs, release
What
new
about
cars.
the Cybertruck?
And the Cybertruck, even Elon Musk say that in terms of margin and sales, it's not going to contribute much. So yeah,
But it's a marketing play.
Yeah, but to be honest with you, I would say that the marketing play that we are talking about regarding Tesla is not even working at this moment because Elon Musk has been very distracted. That's the thing that a lot of people haven't figured out yet. He's been very distracted. What happened last year? He bought Twitter. After that, he launched XAI, which is supposed to compete with ChatGPT. This year, he had a breakthrough with Neuralink. By the way, guys, we made a video on that. You can go back and watch it. He sued OpenAI. He sued Bob Iger from Disney. He's been doing so many things, big fight with a lot of people. And I believe that he's been a little bit distracted from the main thing that we know him for, which is making amazing.
Even if he is distracted and that's causing low sales, what about the other car manufacturers? Why are they having low sales?
We are talking about the market. We are saying that, okay, the whole market is not performing well.
Exactly.
Tesla sales are declined more than BYD sales. That's the main thing that I'm talking about. Tesla is performing worse than BYD. And Tesla is the one losing market share. So I'm thinking of this whole thing as the Infinity War of Avengers. Thanos came. Thanos got all the infinity rings, the rings, and then everybody disappears. That's how Tesla came, 3 years ago. That's when they were, at their peak, 2021. They came, everybody disappeared. Market is theirs. They control everything. And then now there is a little bit more competition. The market is a little bit soft. Normally, with the first mover advantage that they have, they should be on top. I'm not saying that everything is going to go bad from here. I'm sure Tesla stock and everything around is going to pick up again because Elon Musk knows what he is doing. Looking forward, I'm sure that he is going to pause all the other activities that he is doing, at least reduce some of the distracting stuff, and then focus on the car that they are releasing, which is likely to be a selfless driving, maybe cheaper car, and that would allow him to really change the way we drive.
because you can see the full self-driving car software in action. It's not that good yet. It's better than anything else on the market, but it's not that good. Right now, it's still, I would say, it's still in development. I would say
So
that. I want to add to that fact that this is plus for Tesla because the business is diversified. They are also working on Optimus. They are autonomous robots, right? They have the self-driving car software that they are working on. Compared to the other players, they don't have any of that.
I will disagree on that because if you check Tesla's sales figure, 86% yes of their revenue comes from their cars. And
I
if you
agree.
were to compare that with BYD sells a lot of battery as well. I'm not sure how the figures look like, but I'm sure that their battery sales will be at least more than 15% of their
Of course.
makes it
What
the
I'm
same.
trying to say is that ultimately, all these countries are going to try to protect their markets. Ultimately, China is going to go to Bulgaria and all these small European countries and try to create manufacturing there and sell their cars there. But the moment they do that, it's going to increase the price of the car. It's going to be a price war ultimately, a race to the bottom. The person which will come or the company which will come out of this is the company that will be willing to lose money for the longest term. If Tesla cannot do that, then they might lose. But I think they are well placed to, because they are still the better brand. Their cars, compared to the others, apart from the BYD, have a better after sale experience, like repairing it, having technicians and stuff like that. These things, you cannot just sell the car and forget about whatever happened to the car after it's sold to the customer. And other companies are not providing that. Maybe BYD will.
I will use similar reasoning to you, arrive to a different conclusion.
Okay.
So I would say it's all about branding and positioning. I think it's not just going to be like a price war because if you position yourself well and then you brand yourself well, you don't have to decrease your price. We've seen that in the mobile space. Apple's iPhone, the price has been going up for the past, I don't know, 10 years or whatever.
The iPhone is a low ticket item. A car is a much higher ticket item. People
Yeah.
think a lot before they make that decision. It can be the same.
I can give you the example of Mercedes, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, the high-end cars that still make a lot of money. So it's going to be
But what
branding
is
and
their
positioning.
margin, right?
They do have higher margin actually, comparing to, in terms of percentage, of course, comparing to a simple car manufacturer. But based on my understanding, it's going to be branding, positioning. And if Tesla want to make one or two cheap car that they can sell as well, that's going to be very difficult for them. But hey, let's wait and see.
Just as a conclusion, well, what do you think of the future of the EV market? How does this play in your head? If someone was to ask you, would you invest in Tesla or BYD today? What will you say?
Tesla, heck yeah. This is not an investment advice, but hey, drop your money there. Tesla is the best car.
So
best
ultimately,
car.
we are seeing things the same way.
We are seeing the same thing. It's just more on like cheap cars. What's going to be the market winner? If you don't make cheap cars, you're not going to win. But on my side, I'm like, you can make both. You can make very expensive one and cheap one and middle, not too medium price ones as well, and you can win. So